and answer common questions in English. And we're going to do this in a listen and repeat style, so you can shadow me to sound like a native as well. So, our first question, of course, you know this one, right? How are you? How are you? Now, for pronunciation, native speakers will pronounce this R very quickly. How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? So, can you think of some more advanced ways to ask this question? So, what are some advanced ways? Put your question in the comments and also put your answer to this question in the comments as well. So, as those are coming, you could also say, how are you doing? How are you doing? So, what's the difference between question one, how are you, and question two, how are you doing? How are you doing? Well, question two, as you can see, it's in the present continuous and it uses the verb do. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay. So we have some questions coming in. Hidaki, how's going? Close, close. Can anyone correct this for Hidaki? And this is why I'm starting with basic greetings, because I know you might be thinking, Jennifer, I know how to answer basic questions in English, but I still see a lot of mistakes with these basic questions. So who can correct this for Hidaki? Okay, how are you doing? And the next one. Okay. America, how is it going? So that is correct, but a native speaker would never say, how is it going? As Paslock said, we would always 100% of the time use the contraction, how's it going? How's it going? So if you say, how is it going? It won't sound natural. It will sound awkward. Okay, so with the contraction. Now notice the pronunciation on this. This one's important. How's it? Okay, so we take this S, but it sounds like a Z, and then you connect it to the it, so it actually sounds like zit, zit, zit. If you know what a zit is, it's a common word for a pimple. We call it a zit. So that's the exact pronunciation. How's it? How's it? But you have to connect how and zit together. How's it? How's it? And then you can have a little pause before going, because going is not linked. How's it going? How's it going? Okay, repeat after me. How's it going? How's it going? Oh, right. So, I like this one, Paslak. How have you been? How have you been? Love it. Love it. How are you doing lately? Okay, so this one's interesting because lately is a keyword. It tells you what verb tense you need. Lately doesn't go with the present continuous, which you have here. Okay, so think of how you might change this. Stefania, yeah, what's up? What's up? You can absolutely say that. Hey, what's up? What's up? It's a very casual, informal way. So, what's up? You might reserve it for certain situations. Because it does sound quite informal, but definitely in an informal context, it sounds perfect. How do you do? It's too formal. This is not used. Maybe you hear this in movies from the 60s or something like that, but it is not used in modern English. I imagine James Bond dressed in a tuxedo in the 1960s going into a room and saying, how do you do? But in modern English, it's not used. Hi, y'all. Yes, you can absolutely say that, especially if you live in the southern US. You can absolutely say that. Okay, so we have many, many, many great questions. What about the answers to these? Who knows some answers to how are you? How are you doing? How's it going? Now, let's just, how are you? That's easy. So let's do the second one and the third one. So put your answer to how are you doing? And put your answer to How's it going? You can just put 2 and then 3 to identify your answer. Okay. Okay, let's continue to the answers. Like I said, this one's easy. I'm good. Notice that contraction. It doesn't sound natural to say I am good. I am good. I mean, native speakers just don't really say that. I'm good. I'm good. Or simply good. Blending in, awesome. I'm doing good. Excellent job. Because the second one, because it's using the verb doing, that is what you would use in your answer. I'm doing good. Now, you can also just drop the subject and auxiliary verb and say doing good. How are you doing? Doing good. Or simply good. Yeah, I'm doing great. And of course, you do not have to use good. You can replace good with any number of adjectives such as great. I'm quite well. Very nice, Stefania. Awesome. I'm also doing well. Yes, exactly. I'm doing well. Great job there. I'm fine. Exactly. What about you? Very nicely done. Now, number three, who wants to put the answer? How's it going? How's it going? And yes, there's definitely some playful things you can say, still above the ground, which means I'm still living, right? So, because if you're below the ground, you're not living anymore. Okay, number 3, put your answer to number 3. And you can also say not bad, not bad. I'm not bad. I'm doing not bad. Very nice. Not too bad. I'm busy. How are you doing? I'm busy with my spoken English. Exactly. Okay, we have some answers coming in for number 3. It's going great. Exactly, Sumant. It's going great. It's going great. I'm so glad you said that. This is the one I hear a lot of mistakes with because it is how is it? The subject is it. So you don't say, I'm going great. You need it. It's going, and then your adjective. Now, again, just like the second one, you can drop the subject and the auxiliary verb and simply say going good, or again, you can simply say good. Okay, so as all the students have been practicing, there are many different ways to answer this. Okay, fine, not too bad. Now, pretty good and really good. Pretty good is here, and then really good is here. So pretty good reduces it, and really good increases it. It intensifies it. So same with great. Pretty great, really great, and then excellent, awesome, amazing on the higher end. Now, I've heard some students say some of these, but I saw some mistakes with them. So notice, I've been better. I have been better. So on the scale of high, medium, low, I've been better is more of a low. It's saying today is not my favorite day. I've been better. I've been better. Now, maybe you can explain why. I'm recovering from a cold. I've been better. That is true for me right now. I've been better. I'm a little sick right now, to be honest. Now, the second one, you can say, I can't complain. I put I in parentheses because it's optional. And it's very common to just say, can't complain, can't complain, can't complain. I have a little cold, but can't complain. It's still a beautiful day. I'm above ground. Can't complain. Now, couldn't be better. That's on the high end. Couldn't be better. I just got a promotion. My family's visiting me. It's a beautiful day out. Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. So that's on the high end. So I've been better is like low. Can't complain is more medium. Couldn't be better is on the high end. All right, so feel free to share yours. How's it going? That's the one I use the most often. So, how's it going? How's it going? All right. Now, let's keep going. And before we do, I have this free speaking guide for you. I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. A lot of people have said in the comments that they're struggling with their spoken English. Well, please, I will give you the exact steps that you can follow. So you can download this absolutely free. Just go to my website and request it. It will be emailed to you. And please show me some love because, like I said, I'm a little bit sick right now, but I'm still here showing up for you. So, like this lesson, subscribe, put yes, yes, yes in the comments so I know that it was worthwhile for me to come here and do this lesson with you today and that you're enjoying it and you want more lessons just like this. All right, Hidaki. Woohoo. All right. Thank you, everyone. Now, Stefania, awesome, always. Now, let's keep going. Sergey likes it as well. Horatio, of course. Victor, thank you so much. All right. Now, notice here, instead of how's it going, now it represents just the situation, the day, life. It represents whatever context you're in. So if you're working on a report and you're in the middle, let's say you're in the middle of writing a report, okay? And your colleague comes in and she says, how's it going? Well, she could be asking you overall, how are you doing? Or she could be asking you about the report. How's the report going? So instead of it, you can replace that with any noun. It can be your day, the project, the presentation, preparing for your IELTS, for example. So if I know you're preparing for your IELTS and you're practicing your speaking, I can write you a message and say, hey, Mohammed, how's it going? And in that context, it means preparing for your IELTS. So you can reply back to whatever that question is. Now, some of the students also said, what have you been up to lately or recently? I saw some form of that. This is a very common one that native speakers use. Okay. What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Now, lately or recently, that's optional. You don't need to include it. What have you been up to? What have you been up to lately or recently? Okay, now what is this asking? What time reference is this in? Well, lately or recently, it started in the past and it continues until now. So it's the present perfect. Now, the verb to be does not go in the continuous form, but you can use lately or recently in the continuous form as well. Okay, so this is a very common question. What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Now, to answer, how's your day going? Same thing. It's going good. But here, the it represents my day. So I could say my day's going good. My project's going good. Preparing for the IELTS is going good. Whatever that subject is. Okay. Now, for what have you been up to? Who knows how to answer this one? You could say the most basic and common answer. Well, hey, Jennifer, what have you been up to? Not too much. That's the most basic and common answer that we generally give. Just like if someone asks you, how are you? You just say, I'm fine automatically. You don't really tell them the truth. Same thing. What have you been up to? Not too much. Now you can say same old, same old. The old has a little dash there because that represents the short form of the word old, old, same old. It means I've been doing the same thing I've always been doing. Okay, so that's how we say it in spoken English. Same old, same old. And sometimes you can repeat that. Same old, same old, same old, same old. It means I've been doing the same thing I've always been doing. Or you can actually tell them what is new. And this is since the last time this person saw you or spoke to you. So you could say, we're remodeling our kitchen. Now, notice this is in the present continuous because it's taking place now, okay? So the question is in the present perfect, but your answer can be in a different verb tense. It could even be in the past simple. We just got back from vacation, and then you can tell them about your vacation. So I am going to ask you, and I want you to share one thing with me and then think about your verb tense. So, ukulele, Jupe Day. Ukulele is one of my students here. What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Emerson, what have you been up to? Dinesh, what have you been up to? Carol, what have you been up to? So I didn't say all my students' names, but this applies to all my students. So what have you been up to? Put your answer in the comments. And let's see, Uriel, I've been working on improving my English with Jennifer's videos. Wow, really nice sentence because you have the correct verb tense. I've been working. You work on something. On is a preposition, so your next verb is in the gerund form. I've been working on improving my English with Jennifer's videos. Well done. And your hard work is paying off because this is an excellent sentence. I've been working on. Okay, Cheyenne said not too much or not much. You don't have to say too. So this is correct. Not much. Just focusing on my studies and trying to improve my English. Another excellent sentence. Well done. You wouldn't say where because where is for location. If you wanted to ask a question with location, you would say, where have you gone lately or where have you been? But I don't know. It's not a direct translation. We probably wouldn't use where in this style of question. Where were you yesterday? Where did you go last weekend? So there are other questions you could ask with where, but I wouldn't use it with this one. Just chilling. Nothing special. Same old. We're arranging a party. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, very nice. Okay, excellent job, everyone. Now, what's your name? Very basic question, right? Of course, you know how to ask this. I'll share some different ways you can answer this, and then I want to share one more advanced question related to this. Okay, so of course, I'm Jennifer. My name's Jennifer. Honestly, I don't see a difference between these two. I'm Jennifer. This uses the verb to be, and then my name is Jennifer. I use both of these, and I would say they're both equally common, and they sound exactly the same. My name's Jennifer. I'm Jennifer. Or, of course, you can simply say, what's your name? Jennifer. You can absolutely just state your name. Now, what about this one, though? What do you go by? What do you go by? So sometimes people will ask me this because in North America, and I'm sure in your country as well, we have the custom of shortening names. So Jennifer is a longer name. So some people will shorten that to either Jen or even Jenny or some other form. Or maybe I have a nickname that I prefer. So if you state your name and then someone asks you, what do you go by? They want to know what your preference is. Okay. What do you go by? Now, instead of what do you go by, you could say, what name do you go by? So you could add the word name. What name do you go by? What name do you go by? Okay, so then to answer, I would say I go by Jennifer, or you can call me Jennifer. So these two answers are only if they ask you, what do you go by? Or what name do you prefer? What should I call you? Something like that. But just to answer, what's your name? You would use I'm Jennifer or my name's Jennifer. And then what do you go by? I go by Jennifer, which is true. I don't shorten my name. I go by Jennifer. Okay. Oh, Stefania, my nickname is Stevie. That's an interesting one. So, what about all of you? Do you have a different name that you go by? Let's see. I'm Dinesh. Very nice. And is that the name you go by? Oh, right. I go by Shiromi. Exactly. I go by Shiromi. Excellent. I go by the nickname Alability. Very nice. Very nice. I go by George or Jorge. Very nice. Very nice, everyone. Awesome. I go by Debbie. Exactly. That's a great one. I go by Debbie. I go by Carol. Awesome. Awesome. I go by Aoife. Very nice. Very nice. I go by Jubu. Awesome. Amazing, everyone. And so you can, of course, you can ask these to other people as well. So you're practicing the answers and you're practicing the questions. So why don't you practice with someone else you know who's learning English? You can take all these questions and you can ask each other after this class to practice your spoken English as well. All right, let's keep going. Here are two common questions. How long have you lived here? How long have you been living here? What do you think about these two questions? Are they the same? Are they different? Which one would you use? Is one of them correct? Is one of them incorrect? What do you think? Well, notice here, I have this asterisk at the bottom, and there are three verbs: live, work, and school. With these three verbs, and as you can see, this sentence used the verb live, you can use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous, and there's no difference in meaning. Okay. Native speakers use both. How long have you lived here? How long have you been living here? Honestly, I probably use the first one more often, but I also use the second one. And I hear both of them. So just know that with these three verbs, it's acceptable. And this is in a grammar textbook. This isn't just a common thing we do in the language, it's in a grammar textbook as well. You can use both of them, but only for these three verbs: live, work, and school. Okay. Now, school represents, the verb would not be school, the verb would be study, for example, or something related to school. Now, the answer to these two. So I'll ask you, let's say we're in whatever city you're currently in. Oh, how long have you lived here? Now, here would be if you are both in the same city. But I'm in Ottawa, Canada, and let's say you're in Poland, okay? You're in Warsaw, Poland. So if we're in different cities, I would say, how long have you lived there? There. But to answer, you would say, oh, I've lived here, okay? So here represents your current location, and there represents a different location. So again, I would ask you in Poland or some other location, how long have you lived there? And then you would answer, I've lived here, or I've lived in Poland. And then you can answer, okay, so how long have you lived here? We'll pretend we're in the same location. Edwin said, I have lived 12 years here. Okay, Edwin, awesome. That's a long time. You know the city well. Just your location of here, I would change. I have lived here, and then you're missing a word. Can someone help Edwin and correct this for him? Okay, and Igul said, I have been living here since I was born. Awesome. Very nice sentence. Well done. I've been living here. So the present perfect continuous since, and then I was born. Perfect sentence. And Hidaki said, I've lived in Japan for all my life. Excellent. Very nice. I have lived here for 7 years. Awesome. I've been living in Nigeria for 33 years. Awesome. Very nice sentence. Yeah. And this is the word that Edwin was missing. Okay, so Edwin, you needed for as well before your time reference. Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I have lived here for 12 years. Great correction, Edwin. Ah, Amirowin. I have lived here for just 9 months. Yes. Okay, so you're new. You're new to your city. Yeah, just don't you still need to use for. Okay, awesome everyone. I've been living here since I was 18 years old. Excellent. Excellent job. Very nice question. Okay. So, you can say I've lived here my whole life. Instead of whole, you can say my entire life or all my life. I've lived here my whole life. Okay? That's a very common one. I've lived here my whole life. I was born and raised here. Okay? So that is just an alternative to the first one. I've lived here my whole life. I was born and raised here. So to be raised means that you spent your childhood in that location. And then I've lived here for 10 years. Don't forget that for, or I've lived here since 2015. Since is for a starting point in time. So 2015 is a starting point. But some students said, I can't remember. Oh, here, this is a good one. Since I was born. But think about this. You were born on a specific time, on a specific date, right? So that's a starting point in time. It's not a duration. 4 is a duration of time. There's a start and there's an end. So 10 years, that's a duration. But since is just for the starting point. Now, notice all of these were in, well, I've lived. For the second one, I was born and raised here. You use a different verb. You use the verb to be conjugated in the past simple. But instead of I've lived, you can absolutely say I've been living. I've been living. I've been living. And remember I said I more commonly use the first one as a question, but generally we have this concept of matching verb tenses. So if someone asked me, hey, Jennifer, how long have you been living here? Because they asked me the question in the present perfect continuous, I'm more likely to answer in the present perfect continuous. So just remember that on an IELTS, not always, but on the IELTS or any language exam, you can get a lot of clues in the question if you look at the grammar in the question. But like I said, it's not always, because look at my second one. My second one does not use that verb conjugation. Okay, everyone. I've lived in Turin, Italy since I was born. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Amazing job, everyone. Ooh, how about this question? This is a question a lot of my students, even my most advanced students, I ask them, oh, so what do you do? That's how I would say it in natural spoken English. Oh, so what do you do? And they look at me and they're so confused. They're like, I don't know what you're asking. But I think that's kind of funny because it's like such a basic question in English. Now, What do you do for a living? But often native speakers will not say for a living, but that's more of the full sentence. What do you do for a living? For a living represents the work you do, the work you do. A lot of students will say, what is your job? What is your job? That's not a natural question to ask. So we just wouldn't say that. We would say, "What do you do?" And that is asking them, "What is your job?" But just know this question is inclusive. If your job is you're a student, you're a stay at home mother, you take care of your elderly parents, you're retired, all of those are your job. Okay. So it's not just about employment in the workforce. This question is asking for anything. Okay. So let's see some answers here. Mm, I'm a teacher. I'm a student. You should go together. I'm a cook. Excellent. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm really happy with these answers because you're using an article and you're matching the article correctly as well. So, really great job. So, a lot of students, even my really advanced students, they say, I'm software engineer or I'm designer. You need that article. But I'm seeing that article here. I'm really happy about this. I'm a programmer. Just know that when your verb to be is the main verb or the auxiliary verb in that case, is native speakers put the verb to be in a contraction. And I highly recommend you do that as well if you want to sound more natural. I'm an accountant. Excellent. I'm unemployed. Yeah, you can say that. I'm unemployed. You can also say, I'm between jobs. This is another way we say it. I'm between jobs or I'm looking for my next opportunity. Those are other ways because there is a little bit of a negative stigma attached to saying unemployed. So sometimes people want to say it a different way. I'm between jobs. I'm looking for my next opportunity, for example. I'm an entrepreneur and researcher. Excellent. I'm an English teacher. Excellent. The best question. What do you do? What do you do? Exactly. So, what do you do? So, you can, introduce yourself. Oh, hi. What's your name? Oh, what do you go by? Oh, so what do you do? So, what do you do? Excellent job, everyone. I'm between jobs. Exactly. Exactly. It's just a more diplomatic, I will say, a more diplomatic way of saying it. Mhm. I'm a pharmacist, but I am currently okay, if you have I am, then your verb needs to be in the present continuous. But I'm currently looking after my kids. This is also a very diplomatic way of saying it as well. I'm a pharmacist, but I'm currently looking after my kids. Excellent. That's a very nice way of saying this. Thank you so much. I am a little bit sick, but I'm doing my best and I'm happy to be here because it's certainly better than just lying on the couch doing nothing. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a small craft business. Excellent. I like how you continued on and gave us a little more information. Yeah. I'm between jobs. You need the S on jobs. I'm between jobs. Yeah, just like this. I'm between jobs. I'm between jobs. Yeah, and you could add on just like sorry, I don't remember the student's name, but the pharmacist, just like the pharmacist Norhan said, you could add on like your job title. You could say I'm a graphic designer. but I'm currently between jobs. So the person understands that you're trained as a graphic designer, but you're currently not working, okay? And it's a great way of saying it. I'm a dentist, a dentist. Don't forget that article there. Okay. Mm. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate that. And don't worry, it's just a little cold. I'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, if for retired, if someone asks you, "Oh, so what do?" You can say, "I'm retired. I'm retired." You can say now, if you wanna expand on that, you can say, for example, "I worked as a pharmacist for 20 years, and now I'm retired." Okay? So you can add on what you used to do if you want to. You can say, you can reverse them and say, I've been retired for 5 years. Before that, I was a pharmacist. So if you want, you don't have to. You can simply just say, I'm retired. I'm retired. Now I spend all my time in my garden because I'm retired, for example. Great, great one, everyone. Mhm. Oh, right. Yeah, definitely don't say jobless. This probably sounds like the it's not a natural thing to say, and it sounds really negative to say you're jobless. A native speaker would not describe themselves as jobless. Okay? So you would say, I'm unemployed sounds better. But like I said, a more diplomatic way is to say, I'm between jobs or I'm looking for my next opportunity, something like that. But don't say I'm jobless. Okay. Can you say I am working for international airport? Yeah, absolutely. I'm working for. Now, you have to have an article. So you could say an international airport, which means any, or you can say the international airport if you want to say a specific one. This is a great one. I recently passed my examination. That's why I'm looking for a job. A job. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here are some. Everyone already did such an amazing job. I'm a graphic designer. Everyone was getting that article. I'm so happy to see that. I work as a graphic designer. I didn't see many people say this, and that's totally fine. It's just an alternative way. It's more common to say I'm a graphic designer. Just an alternative way is to say I work as. I work as, okay? You could also if there's a well-known company, even that airport example, something like that, you can say that you work for a company. I work for Microsoft as a graphic designer. So sometimes if it's a very well-known company, people like to include that if someone asks, what do you do? What do you do? Okay. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I work as just you need that article. You always need an article before the job title. I work as a courier. As a courier. Mhm. Okay. Excellent job, everyone. What do we have next? Oh, how about this one? What are you into? What are you into? So you can imagine you're at a party. Someone asks you your name, what you go by, what do you do? And now they're asking you, so what are you into? What are you into? Now, this is like asking, what do you do for fun? What do you like doing in your spare time? What are you passionate about? Yeah. What is your hobby? It also would be very common to ask, "What are your hobbies? What are your hobbies?" Okay? Yeah, so it's just a different way of saying it. It's just a very natural way. Native speakers like using the word into. What are you into? What are you into? What do you do in your free time? What do you do in your spare time? What do you do on the weekends? There's lots of different ways of asking the question. And yeah, to answer, you could just say listening to music for sure. That's a great one. Ah, great question. Okay, I'm into cooking. I'm into cook. Who knows the answer? Which one is it? One, cooking, or two, cook? Let's see. Who knows the answer? Mm. Okay. Well, oh, we got cooking, says Dorothy and Katarina. Yes, you are correct. It's cooking. Evdina Sear, it's cooking. And all the other students as well. Because into is a preposition. So after a preposition, you need the gerund verb, the verb and ing. I like this answer. I like learning English in my free time. In my free time. Yeah, when I'm lazy, I like listening to music and reading books. You don't need articles here because you're talking about the category as a whole. But just remember, you listen to something. I like listening to music and reading books. Okay. I like learning English. I think I already put that one on. Oh, right, everyone. So, what are you into? Let's say I ask you that at a party. What are you into? You could say what you're not into. Well, I'm definitely not into Taylor Swift. You could definitely answer that. Why not? This one needs some work. I'm interested in cooking. I'm interested in cooking. Okay. I'm interested in cooking. All right. I'm keen on playing video games. Very nice. Great job getting your ing form there. I'm into practicing meditation whenever I have time. That's an excellent way to spend your free time. I'm really into learning English. I'm fond of reading. I like this. I'm keen on. Notice these different prepositions. I'm interested in. I'm fond of. I'm into. That's what the question used. I'm into. I'm interested. The ed form, Horatio. I'm interested in tennis. As a spectator, as a player, I'm very bad. That's funny. I'm really fond of going to the beach in my leisure time. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, Dorotha, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Uh, Clement Joe is into learning English online easily in a fun way. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So you can say so many students had awesome answers. I'm really into hiking. Okay. So to be, I am, to be, into. You can add on really to make it stronger. I'm really into. And then you need your activity in ing form. Hiking. I'm really into cooking. I'm really into soccer. So notice there, soccer is not a verb. Soccer is a noun. So you can also use a noun. I'm really into music. I'm really into guitar. I'm really into ukulele. Okay. So you can use the verb or the noun. I love hiking. You don't have to use the same grammar that the question used. I love hiking. I love guitar. I love playing guitar. I spend all my time, you can say I spend all my free time, all my leisure time, or just I spend all my time hiking, doing something, playing guitar. Now, this last one is an interesting sentence structure. It's more of an advanced sentence structure. And I want everyone to practice this sentence structure. So notice this sentence, it starts with the gerund verb. Okay. So hiking, that's the activity. Hiking is my favorite activity. You can say hiking is my favorite thing to do on weekends. Hiking is my favorite thing to do when I have free time. Hiking is my passion. So there are many other things you can do. And notice it starts with the gerund verb hiking. Now, instead of the gerund verb, you could also use just a noun. For example, music is my favorite activity. Guitar is my passion. So you can use a noun as well. So everyone, what are you into? And I want you to try the last example sentence here, starting with a gerund verb, or you could also use a noun. Okay. I like Clement's answer. He put it in the negative, which is great. Hiking isn't my cup of tea. My cup of tea. Hiking isn't my cup of tea. So if someone asks you, oh, hey, we're going hiking this weekend. Do you want to join? And you can say, oh, thanks for the invite, but hiking isn't my cup of tea. So it means you don't really like hiking. Very nice. I like that. Okay, so here's a gerund verb. Learning English is my favorite activity. Well, I'm very happy to hear that. Reading is my favorite when I have free time. Awesome. Great job starting with that gerund verb. Learning English is my favorite thing to do in my free time. Awesome. Reading books and watching movies are my favorite activities. Excellent job. And I love you have two things. So reading books, watching movies. So you changed your verb to are. Really nicely done, Stefania. Reading is my favorite activity. Exercising is my favorite when I have spare time. So you don't need there when I have spare time. Spending time with my family, awesome. Driving, oh, interesting. Awesome. Driving. Awesome job, everyone. Watching YouTube is my favorite activity. Very nice. Very nice. Sounds like everyone has some awesome activities. This is interesting, Destin. Binge watching your English videos is my favorite activity. Well, thank you so much. And notice this still starts with the gerund because watching your English videos, but binge functions as the adjective. It says, well, how do you watch? I binge watch, but the verb is watch. Really nicely done. Watching UFC, very nice. Great activity. Working out, awesome. Awesome, everyone. Great activities. So educational. That's awesome. Okay. Here are some other questions to ask about your weekend plans. Do you have any plans this weekend? Now, what are you up to this weekend? Remember previously, the question was, what are you into? That's asking about your hobby. What are you into? This one is your plans. Okay. So, what are you up to is like a direct translation would be, what are you doing or what do you have planned? What are you up to this weekend? Okay. Now, another question that's commonly asked by native speakers is, are you up to anything this weekend? Are you up to anything? Now, you can add on, are you up to anything interesting this weekend? Are you up to anything special this weekend? But you don't need to. You could also just say, are you up to anything this weekend? Okay, so these are 3 questions you should have in your vocabulary. So feel free to pick one, 2, or 3, and then answer that question in the comments as well. Okay, so this is just a very short way to answer it. Of course, there's probably a lot more complex ways. You'll provide more information. So you can say, this weekend, we're going to a wedding. So notice this is in the present continuous. We're going to a wedding because it's planned. It's a planned activity in the near future. This weekend, we're going to a wedding. We're just relaxing at home this weekend. So this answer also uses the present continuous because it's more of a planned activity. Okay. I'm planning to clean the store. Very nice. So I'm planning to do something. That's a really great way to answer. This weekend, I'm traveling to Majorca for fun, a cheap 8-day trip before summertime. That's awesome. Very nice. And great job getting the present continuous. I'm traveling. I'm traveling. Mm. So this one, you could say, I plan to visit my sister. You don't need that up there. So I plan to visit my sister. So this one is interesting because in the question form, we do say, what are you up to this weekend? But as the answer, you don't use that. You would just say what you're doing in the present continuous generally. There are other verb tenses you can use, but the most common would be the present continuous. So you don't use the up to in the answer. You just say, I'm finishing an English book. So you put that in the present continuous because it's your planned action. I'm finishing an English book. Awesome. Yeah, so I said there are other ways you could answer. This is a great example. So you don't need to use the present continuous. You could use an obligation. I have to study. I have to study this weekend. So what are you up to this weekend? I have to study for my exam, or I have to finish this project. I have to clean out my garage. I have to plan a party for my sister, for example. Yeah. So again, don't use the up to in the answer. So you could simply say, I'm sketching this weekend. I'm sketching this weekend. You can say, I'm spending the weekend sketching as an alternative. This Sunday is Mother's Day, so I'm going to visit my mom. Exactly. You need the to visit. I'm going to visit my mom. Very nicely done. This weekend, I'm going to travel. Awesome. I'm going to Germany. Wow, exciting. I have plans to go to see my friend campus this weekend. Very nice. Awesome. I'm having my parents for lunch this Saturday. And for Sunday, my plans are up in the air. Oh, that's a great one. So if her plans are up in the air, it means she hasn't decided. There are some options she's considering, but nothing is decided. That's a great one. I'll be washing my clothes this weekend. Yeah, you can use the future continuous to talk about what action you will be doing. I'll be washing my clothes this weekend. Yeah, you can do that. We're going to visit our grandma this weekend. Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to spend time in nature. Oh, very relaxing. I love that, everyone. Awesome. Okay. Well, we don't have time for the negative answers, so we'll save that for next time. Wow, this was a really awesome class. So I'll say we have 5 minutes left. So I'll just do some 5 minute for Q&A if you have any final questions. And if not, just keep practicing. And I'm happy to give some correction here as well. I have to complete my music project. Yeah. An awesome job. I'm glad everyone's using I have to for the obligation. So have and then your infinitive. I have to finish. I have to complete. I have to clean, whatever it might be. Okay. Oh, this is a great one. I was going to meet my family in Florida for a family reunion, but that got canceled. Really nice. I love this. I was going to. So this was a plan, but it didn't happen. So you could say, I was going to clean my garage, but I wasn't feeling well. So I decided to put it off, for example. Okay. All right. I'm working. Yeah. So what are you up to this weekend? I'm working. I'm working. Okay, so Georgina, must is a modal verb. So this one, you just use the rule is modal plus base verb. I must work all weekend. But it would sound more natural to use I have to express an obligation. I have to work all weekend. Or you could put work in the present continuous and say I'm working all weekend. I'm working all weekend. Uh, oh, right. This weekend, I'm going to have my lunch with my mom. Oh, that's so nice. This weekend, I don't have any plans to go out, but staying home. I'll try to complete the quantum entanglement topics. Whoa, that sounds heavy. Yeah, you can use need to as well. I have to work. I need to work. Exactly. Very nice. There's like a very slight difference, but both of them ultimately they're interchangeable. If you say I have to work, I need to work, the meaning is basically the same. Okay. Can I use gonna instead of going to? I'm gonna clean my garage, for example. Yes, you can. Just know that gonna is not technically a word, okay? So sometimes I see students write it, but they write it in what is otherwise a like not a formal, but just a regular written document. But gonna is only a pronunciation change that happens naturally in spoken English. So native speakers use it in like quick text messages. You'll see it a lot in social media replies because we generally reply the way we speak, but it's not an actual word. So just be careful. I would avoid using it in written English, but absolutely you can use it in spoken English. Okay. What's the difference between gonna and gotta? Okay, so gonna is going to and gotta is got to. So I gotta work this weekend is more of a replacement to I have to work this weekend. I'm gonna work this weekend is just a planned event. Gotta is an obligation and gonna is just a planned event. I'm gonna clean the garage. It sounds more like I just want to. It's my decision. I gotta clean the garage. There's some reason why. It's an obligation. Uh, I have to work this weekend. Yeah, so in this case, you could say, "I gotta work this weekend." All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And don't forget, I have this free speaking guide for you. I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. It's absolutely free. So just go to my website and then you can enter your name and email, and then you can check your email, and this will be delivered right to your inbox. So you can get that. And also make sure you like this lesson. Subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson, every time I go live, and put yes, 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 yes in the comments if you liked this lesson as well. All right, Dorota, like the lesson. Yes, Clement. Until we meet again, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Same to you. Thank you so much. Same to you, Stefania, Hidaki. Thank you so much, everyone. Woohoo! I am so glad you enjoyed the lesson. So I go live every Tuesday, and it's at the same time that I started today. So 8 a.m. Eastern time. Tuesday, 8 a.m. Eastern. So you can put it in your calendar. All right, awesome, everyone. I am so glad you enjoyed the lesson. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I appreciate your support, everyone. All right. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see all of you soon. Bye, everyone.